What's going on today?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. Doing what I could do.
Good, good, good. Yeah, I got some questions for you, so let's jump into
All right.
this.
Lay it on me.
First and foremost, first and foremost, can you break down your character in this refresh take on the classic Cheaper About It Does It?
In this re installment, I guess you should say, of Cheaper by the Dozen, I play a character, Dom Clayton, recently retired professional football player, trying to come back into the fold, into the mix of being a more present father and seeing that his children are being raised by, his ex-wife and another man. And he has to kind of navigate his feelings and his emotions as being this larger than life figure and having to humble himself in a way that he's not really used to see someone that he may seem to be not as a man's man as he is, and understand that this man who's helping raise his children is just as capable, if not more in some instances. And by that I mean, Dom was not necessarily absent, but sometimes absent in certain areas where he has to
Right.
understand where he can come back into the fold if he understands and accepts what this role is going to be moving forward with everyone else that's there co-parenting.
Awesome, awesome. Now, there's a really great moment in the film where you're stressed the importance to Paul about, being a black parent and how black children need their black parents in their life. What's your personal take on that matter?
I think it's very important. In today's world, as it's an old adage that it takes a village to raise a child, and the
Mm-hmm.
villages used to look different back in the day. Now the villages are a little more blended, they're a little more fluid, they're a little more, I guess, varied in a sense. But I think it's important to have that because even though my son DJ in the film is co-parented by a Caucasian man and his black mother, it's still important for him to understand that you're still going to grow up in this world as diverse as it is, and that it may still become that he's still going to grow up to be a black man. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
important for him to see his father as well as the man that's with his mom. And I think that dichotomy will not necessarily dichotomy, but that admix, it can lead to a more beneficial and rounded outlook on life, not just one. But I think it's tantamount that he sees his black dad as well as the parental units that he lives with.
Agreed, agreed. I'm glad you mentioned DJ because there was another great scene between you and DJ where DJ points out that, even though you are his dad, you don't really know him, and that he
Mm,
prefers to talk to his other dad about other matters.
right.
Now, I want to ask why you think it's more important that, that parents not only guide their children, but also, listen and pay attention to the things that their kids like.
Well, I mean, the children are people too, and they are individuals. I know we like to mold them and guide them, but eventually these children are going to grow up and find a way to express themselves the way that they see fit. I remember growing up as a child. There are things that I wanted to do, and I grew up in a big family, and I'm very similar to some of my family members, but very different. And some of those differences were the things that I was good at, things that I wanted to do, and I appreciate that I was allowed to be my own person. You don't want to grow up and have resentment toward people who did not allow you to be who and what and how you are. And I think that's very important. It's paramount that children are allowed to express themselves and let you know what they like and what they want to do. I mean, because that allowance will give them a sense of freedom. When you feel confined, especially as a child, children can feel helpless because they don't take care of themselves,
Mm,
they don't clothe themselves, they don't buy their own stuff, they're very
right.
dependent. So that level of dependence coupled with a level of freedom can give a balance to these children that I think is very, very important. It's very key in their development into becoming well-rounded and well-versed adults.
Awesome. Well, I know one thing, you do get some great gifts, man. I'll take a pair of those Jordans any day. To be quite honest. Uh, what's one thing you hope people walk away with after seeing particularly your character in the film?
um, I think the one thing that I would like for people to take away from it is understanding, acceptance. Life has a way of showing you its variety, even though we may not want to accept it. And by variety, I mean societal variety, familial variety. There's no cookie cutter, just stagnant, generic, code or template for things. Things can be, switched up, and you have to be malleable, especially in a family dynamic where it's so blended and there are different dynamics therein, especially with having a lot of children, multiple co-parenting adults, and things like that. There's no way that anything could be one way. And I think that what I want people to bring to take away from this is acceptance and understanding that there's more than one way to do things, especially parenting a child.
Awesome, awesome. Now in the film, you do a little cosplay. Uh,
Yeah.
now I don't know if you would ever go to a con, but if you did, what superhero would you dress up as, or what pop culture, a figure in pop culture television would you dress up as if you went to a Comic-Con convention? I'm curious.
Darth Vader. I would love
That's
to have
awesome.
the whole thing. I mean, people ask who's my favorite hero, my favorite bad guy. I guess you could look at Darth Vader as a bad guy, but he's one of my favorites. I would like to do that. Plus, he was a taller guy in Star Wars, so I could dress up in the whole thing. I've still been trying to find an outfit just to do it, but I think it would be him. Yeah.
That's awesome. And for my last question, could you imagine yourself, hypothetically, just having roughly 10 children, by, as a family, and what would you have them do as, growing up? If you had like a family business, what would you have them doing?
Oh man, if it was 10 children, that would be a lot. It's hard to say because when you think about that, even if I had a couple sets of twins in that, even those twins are going to be different. So what I would have them do, for my sake and for my sanity, is to let me know what they want to do and nurture that. When you find a child who has a propensity for something or has a talent in that and they want to do it, I would find a way to nurture that, to nurture their nature. And like I say, it would add to that level of freedom and expression, especially when it comes to being so dependent as a child. When you let a child express him or herself and immerse themselves in what they love, that's when you're going to have a little bit more balance.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that's my time. Thank you for this amazing interview. I loved you in the film, and your dance moves are on point, man. I
Oh
appreciate the
man,
dance moves, bro.
thank you, man. Appreciate it, bro.
You're welcome.
All
Thank you.
right, take it easy.